All right, let's dive in. We're tackling a listener request today.
Oh, fun. What's on the menu?
The culinary challenge. Cooking spinach and potatoes together.
Interesting combo. I'm intrigued.
They want something healthy, obviously, but still super satisfying.
Makes sense. So where'd we go for inspiration?
We found this blog post, How to Cook Spinach with Potatoes, from answr.co.za.
Straightforward title. Any good stuff in there?
Tons. Seriously packed with tips and recipes.
I always love finding hidden gems in those blog posts,
Right. Like you think you know spinach and potatoes.
But there's always something new to learn. It's fascinating how those two, so basic.
Can be nutritional powerhouses. I was reading about potatoes specifically.
Yeah. I feel like they get a bad rap sometimes.
Totally. Like empty carbs or whatever, but they're not.
Nope. They've got vitamin C, potassium.
And those complex carbs that keep you going.
Plus, both spinach and potatoes are high in fiber.
Which means, hello, feeling full, goodbye, digestive issues.
Exactly. But here's a fact that blew my mind.
Okay, lay it on me.
The vitamin C in potatoes helps your body absorb the iron from spinach better.
No way. Really?
It's true. It's like they were meant to be together.
That's amazing. Okay, before we get too hungry.
Let's talk about picking the best ingredients.
Right. So the blog post was all about that vibrant green spinach.
Crisp leaves, looking fresh, makes a difference.
Definitely. And you can go for baby spinach or the mature kind.
Depends what you're making, right? Texture matters.
For sure. Either way, wash it well, get rid of any dirt.
And those tough stems if you've got mature spinach.
Makes sense. Now, potatoes, man, I never realized.
How many kinds there are. Yeah, it's kind of overwhelming.
Totally. But cool, too, right? Like a potato for every mood.
Exactly. Yukon Golds if you're feeling buttery and smooth.
Ooh, those are good. What if you want that fluffy texture?
Rusted's your go-to then. Classic.
And don't forget sweet potatoes.
Oh, right. Bringing the sweetness and the health benefits.
Love those. Okay, basic stuff, but the post emphasizes this.
Peeling and cubing evenly. It's crucial.
Yeah, make sure everything cooks at the same rate.
And rinsing off excess starch helps too. Little details.
They also talk about using onions for flavor.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
What do they say about oil for sautéing?
Sunflower oil, apparently, because it's got that high smoke point.
Smart choice. I bet they had some seasoning recommendations too.
They did. Nor Aromat Original and Robertson's Veggie Seasoning.
Classics.
Yeah.
Adds that depth and richness. Okay, so on to the actual cooking.
The post really highlighted sautéing. Seems simple and healthy.
Right. Quick, easy, keeps the nutrients locked in.
So walk me through it. How would we saute spinach and potatoes?
All right, so start with onions. Cook them till they're nice and translucent.
Got it. Then what? Straight to the potatoes?
Yep. Cook those babies till they're golden brown. Then comes the spinach.
At the very end, right? Just until it wilts.
Exactly. Speaking of cooking potatoes, the post mentioned boiling versus steaming.
Yeah, I saw that. Boiling's obviously easier, but
You lose some nutrients to the water.
steaming keeps more goodness in there, but takes longer.
Classic trade-off. It depends what's important to you.
True. But no matter what, spinach goes in last and cooks briefly.
Gotta avoid the dreaded soggy spinach. Nobody wants that.
Hard agree. Okay, let's get into some actual recipes. They've got this spinach and potato stir fry.
Ooh, that sounds perfect for a weeknight meal.
Right. Easy, healthy, and delicious. The recipe starts by boiling the potatoes.
Just until they're tender, not mushy, right?
Yep. Then you saute the onions until they're golden.
And then combine everything.
Potatoes, onions, spinach in last, just wilting it.
Love it. Did they have any flavor-boosting tips?
Oh, yeah. You can add minced garlic, a little lemon juice.
Ooh, a squeeze of lemon would be nice.
Right. Or even some chili flakes if you like a little heat.
Nice. They had serving suggestions too.
They did. Rice, roti, or with some grilled chicken or fish makes it a complete meal.
Sounds amazing. Now, what about something a bit more comforting? Like a soup.
Oh, man, I do love a good soup. And they have a spinach and potato soup recipe.
Perfect for those chilly evenings.
Yeah.
What's their take on it?
Starts with sautéing onions and garlic. Then you add potatoes and stock.
Simmer that until the potatoes are tender, I'm guessing.
Exactly. Then spinach at the end, of course, and then you blend it all up.
Ooh, creamy and dreamy.
Totally. They also suggest a variation with chorizo.
Ooh, that sounds rich and flavorful. How do they do that?
You fry the chorizo first to render out the fat, then follow the same soup steps.
Smart. What about serving suggestions?
They recommend warm, with crusty bread and black pepper.
Classic. Maybe a drizzle of olive oil, too.
Oh, for sure. And a sprinkle of grated cheese if you're feeling fancy.
That sounds like the perfect cozy meal. But it doesn't stop there, right?
Nope. The post has a whole section on creative variations. That's where things get fun.
I was hoping we'd get to the fun part. Let's hear it.
Well, first up, you could swap regular potatoes for sweet potatoes.
Oh, that's a good one. Natural sweetness, beautiful color.
Totally. They also suggest adding other veggies like bell peppers, zucchini.
Ooh, zucchini would be good.
Right. Peas, corn, anything you like. Yeah. And herbs.
Ah, yes. Fresh herbs like basil and parsley, or dried ones like thyme.
They mentioned red pepper flakes for a little kick, too.
Love it. It's amazing how versatile this combo is.
Right. But even with all of these options, there are still some common mistakes to avoid.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Even seasoned cooks mess up sometimes. What did they highlight?
Number one, of course, overcooked spinach. It happens to the best of us.
It's so easy to do. The key is to cook it just until it wilts.
Right. They really emphasize that flavor, color, and nutrients all get preserved that way.
Makes sense. What was the other mistake they mentioned?
Choosing the wrong type of potato, it sounds basic, but...
It can make a big difference. I remember learning that the hard way.
So help me out here. What's the difference, really?
Well, some potatoes are waxy, like red skin ones.
Those are good for what?
They hold their shape well when you cook them. Salads, things like that.
Ah, okay. What about when you want a smoother texture?
Then you need a starchy potato, like a russet. They get all fluffy and nice.
Makes sense. So you got to think about what you're making before you pick your potato.
Exactly. And another thing that can make or break a dish.
Flavor balance. I was just thinking that.
It's key. They recommend seasoning the spinach and potatoes separately.
Interesting. I usually just toss everything together.
It's tempting, but seasoning individually lets each flavor shine through.
That makes sense. And then you can adjust the overall seasoning at the end.
Exactly. You want those flavors to be harmonious, not competing.
Okay, so we've covered recipes, creative twists, common mistakes.
Seems like we've got this spinach and potato thing down.
Almost. But the post goes even further with the FAQ section.
Nice. FAQs are so helpful. What kind of questions did they answer?
Well, first up, the classic. Can you use frozen spinach?
Ah, the eternal question. What did they say?
They said yes. It's totally fine. Just thaw it completely and squeeze out the excess water.
That's a good tip. I've definitely made watery messes before.
Me too. They also addressed the potato type question again with more specific recommendations.
Like what?
They suggested Yukon Golds or Redskin for creamy texture, since they hold their shape but get tender.
Makes sense. Did they have any vegan-friendly tips?
Yep. Swap butter or margarine with plant-based oils like olive oil or coconut oil.
Easy enough. And
Yeah.
just double-check those seasonings.
Right. Most are vegan anyway, but it's always good to be sure.
What else did they cover?
The meal prep question, you can definitely prep components ahead of time.
Like chopping the onions and cubing the potatoes.
Exactly. Just store them separately to keep everything fresh.
Smart. And finished dishes like soups usually taste even better the next day.
Totally agree. Just add a splash of extra liquid when you reheat them.
Right. They tend to thicken up in the fridge.
Last but not least, they recommended side dish pairings.
Oh, fun. What did they suggest?
Crusty bread, grilled meats or fish, or a light salad with citrus vinaigrette.
Classic pairings. Seems like they really thought of everything.
Right. This blog post was a gold mine of info. We've gone from nutritional benefits to specific recipes.
And even how to avoid common pitfalls. I feel like a spinach and potato expert now.
Me too. And there's even a references section with links to more resources.
Wow, they really went all out. It's amazing how much depth there is to this simple combination.
Right. Who knew spinach and potatoes could be so fascinating?
Sometimes the most basic ingredients lead to the most exciting discoveries.
Well said. But wait, there's one more section that caught my eye. Possible related questions.
Ooh, interesting. What other culinary rabbit holes are they leading us down?
Well, first up, how to cook pork trotters.
Now, that's a dish I'm curious about, but always a bit intimidated by.
Me too. Maybe a future deep dive is in order. Then there's how to make maize meal porridge.
Ooh, I'd love to learn more about the cultural significance of maize meal.
And lastly, they've got how is Heritage Day celebrated in schools?
That would be fascinating to explore, how different cultures pass on their traditions.
I agree. It seems like our spinach and potato journey has opened up a whole world of possibilities.
From traditional recipes to cultural celebrations, the possibilities are endless.
So true. But for now, we'll have to put a pin in those explorations.
Stay tuned, though, because when we come back, we're going to revisit that thought-provoking question we left you with.
You mean the one about creating your unique spinach and potato dish?
Exactly. Get those creative juices flowing.
We can't wait to hear what delicious masterpieces you come up with.
Until next time.
Okay.
All right, back to those spinach and potato adventures. We've covered a lot, but even with all this info,
Things can still go wrong in the kitchen.
oh, absolutely. It happens to everyone. That's why this blog post, it's got this great section on common mistakes.
Like a little culinary safety net.
Exactly. And first up, the classic overcooked spinach. I swear, it's the bane of my existence.
It's so easy to do. 1 minute it's bright and perky, the next it's...
A sad, wilted mess. The Post really hammered this point home, remember?
They did cook it just until it wilts. That's the key takeaway.
Preserve the color, the flavor, all those good nutrients. Okay, moving on, another mistake people make.
Picking the wrong potato. I know we talked about this, but...
It's worth repeating. Seriously, it can make or break your dish. Like, some potatoes are waxy.
Red skin ones, right. What are those good for?
They hold their shape well. So salads, potato salads, anywhere you want those nice distinct chunks.
Okay, so what if I'm making mashed potatoes? What kind do I want then?
For something like that, you need a starchy potato. Russets are the classic example.
Those are the ones that get all fluffy.
Yep. They absorb liquid really well, so they're perfect for mashing, baking, roasting.
Gotcha. I'm learning so much about potatoes today.
See? There's always something new to discover. Okay, last mistake they highlighted, and this is a big one.
Flavor balance. I was just thinking about that. It's so easy to...
Overdo it or underseason, and then the whole dish is off. Their tip was to season the spinach and potatoes separately.
That's interesting. I usually just throw everything in together and season at the end.
It's tempting, but seasoning individually gives each ingredient a chance to shine. Then, when you combine them, you get these layers of flavor.
Ah, that makes so much sense. Like you're building the flavor profile from the ground up.
Exactly. Okay, ready for a FAQ deep dive?
Always. What did they answer this time?
Let's see. Ah, yes, the question on everyone's mind.
Okay.
Can you use frozen spinach?
The convenience factor is tempting, but...
Sometimes you sacrifice quality. I get it. But good news, they said frozen spinach is totally fine.
Really? Any caveats?
Just make sure you thaw it completely and squeeze out all that excess water.
So you don't end up with a soggy mess. Makes sense.
Right. They also went deeper into the potato varieties, giving even more specific recommendations.
Oh, like what?
Well, for creamy texture, they suggested Yukon Golds or red skin potatoes.
We talked about those, right? They hold their shape well but get nice and tender.
Exactly. And of course, for a sweeter, healthier twist, there's always sweet potatoes.
Those are so versatile. What about for those following a vegan diet? Any tips for them?
Oh, absolutely. This blog post was very inclusive. They said to just swap out any butter or margarine with plant-based oils.
Olive oil, coconut oil, things like that.
Yep. And just double check those seasonings, make sure there's no sneaky dairy or anything.
Good point. Most herbs and spices are vegan anyway, but better safe than sorry.
Absolutely. And of course, the question every busy cook wants to know, can you prep this stuff in advance?
Oh, the meal prep question. I'm all ears.
They said you can definitely prep components ahead of time. Chop those onions, cube those potatoes.
Store them separately, of course, to keep everything fresh.
Exactly. And don't forget, dishes like soups, they actually taste better the next day.
Oh, totally. Those flavors just have time to meld.
Right, just add a splash of liquid when you reheat them.
Because they thicken up in the fridge. Makes sense. What was their final FAQ wisdom?
Side dish pairings. They had some great suggestions.
Okay, let's hear them. What goes well with spinach and potatoes?
Well, they mentioned crusty bread, of course. Always a classic.
Perfect for sopping up those delicious juices.
Then there's grilled meats or fish, nice and light, to balance out the heartiness of the spinach and potatoes.
And if you want to keep it veggie-centric,
A light salad with a citrus vinaigrette. Bright and refreshing.
this FAQ section is a goldmine.
It is. Honestly, this whole blog post has been incredible. We've learned about nutrition, cooking techniques, recipe ideas.
And even how to troubleshoot those common kitchen mishaps. I feel like I can conquer any spinach and potato challenge now.
Me too. But remember that thought-provoking question we left you with before the break?
The one about creating our own unique spinach and potato dish.
Exactly. It's time to put all this knowledge into practice. All right, chefs, are you ready? It's challenge time.
Time to put all that spinach and potato knowledge to good use.
Remember that question we left you with?
About dreaming up our own unique spinach and potato dish.
I've been brainstorming up a storm.
Me too. Okay, what if we went for a vibrant Indian twist?
Ooh, like a spinach and potato curry.
Yes, with all those aromatic spices, coconut milk.
That sounds incredible. Or we could go Italian, like a frittata.
Ooh, a frittata. With fresh herbs, maybe some feta.
That's making me hungry.
Me too. I was also picturing a crispy galette.
Ooh, flaky crust, a creamy filling. What would you put in it?
Maybe some goat cheese, caramelized onions.
Mmm. Stop. I am drooling. Okay, but what about something with a global flair?
We could do a Mediterranean-inspired salad.
Ooh, yeah. Spinach, potatoes, sun-dried tomatoes, olives.
And a bright lemon vinaigrette to tie it all together.
Perfect. Or for something a little different, we could go Asian.
Like a stir fry.
Yes.
Yes.
With ginger, garlic, maybe drizzle of sesame oil.
It's amazing how many possibilities there are.
It really is.
Yeah.
Spinach and potatoes, they're like blank canvases. You can do so much with them.
So listeners, it's your turn. Get creative.
Don't be afraid to experiment, try new flavors, new techniques.
Think outside the box. What unique twist can you bring to the table?
And when you've created your masterpiece, share it with the world, post it online, tell your friends, send us a picture.
We want to see what you come up with.
Because that's what cooking is all about, right?
Yeah.
Exploring, creating, and sharing the joy of good food.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, on that note, it looks like we've reached the end of our spinach and potato deep dive.
I hope you've enjoyed the journey as much as we have.
And we hope you're feeling inspired to get in the kitchen and start cooking.
Until next time, happy cooking, everyone.